Hey everybody, it's Zach Coffin, the Vice President of the Higher Ed Marketer, and we're so excited for this Faith Leaders series. We recorded these episodes at the CCCU International Forum this year in Dallas, Texas. We've got some incredible leaders for you to hear from, and we're so excited that you would tune in. And so please enjoy these episodes that we recorded live at CCCU.
You're listening to the Higher Ed Marketer, the podcast for marketing professionals in higher education. Join us every week as we talk to the industry's greatest minds in student recruitment, donor relations, marketing trends, new technologies, and much more. If you're looking for conversations centered around where marketing in higher ed is going, this podcast is for you. Let's get into the show.
Welcome to the Higher Ed Marketer Podcast. I'm Bart Caylor, and we're live here from the CCCU International Forum in Dallas, Texas at the Gaylord, and this place is huge. And I've got Phil Cook here, president of Lee University. So thanks for joining me, Phil.
Thank you, Bart. I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
It has been so fun. And Phil, you and I have known each other for, we met on the podcast.
That's right.
And so I think it's been 3-4 years, maybe a little longer?
Well, almost 5.
Almost
because
5.
You were inviting me to be in when I was moving to NACAP is when you invited me to do it. Yeah.
That's right. And so we've become dear friends, and I really want to just kind of talk to you about the transition to the big chair, coming to being president. So tell me about that, what that's been like for you, coming back to your alma mater. Just kind of unpack that for us.
Well, here at the conference, I went to a session that talked about presidential transitions, and there were 4 presidents on stage that had different experiences. None had the experience like mine of returning to your alma mater after being away. So one of the things I had to think about was I had a high school friend of mine, Bart, who said, "Phil, it's hard to be a man where you've been a boy."
Oh, wow.
So I grew up on this campus. People saw me in a certain way, and there are good things to that, but there are also limitations to that. But I heard another colleague talk about the calling and the confirmation. I believe that God had called me to do this work. I believe God called me to be a part of NACAP. I'm proud of those 4 years, wonderful years meeting you and folks all around the country. But I believe God was calling me back to my alma mater to be the president, but the confirmation came from the board when they offer you the job.
Exactly.
The confirmation comes from a leadership team on campus that says you're the one to do it. So these past 7 months have been a whirlwind. We're working hard.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the phrases I've been using that my son told me not to say because he said, "Dad, it sounds like you're trying to be too cool." Because I said, when we come back here, we know the urgency, we sense the urgency of a love for our alma mater, our mother that nourished us and made us who we are. So we've got work to do. So I've been saying all gas and no brakes. And so we've been working really hard, but I'm out of gas a couple of times, but it's been invigorating to be back. I believe that I was called to do this. I believe it's my destiny to do it. And I'm honored to be sitting in this seat, leading the place that had such a powerful impact on my life.
Yeah, I remember the very first time you and I met, you had referenced the alma mater means your mother.
That's right.
And I've always remembered that because I didn't know that, and I thought that was great. And so the fact that you're bringing it up on your second time on the podcast, which is awesome.
Maybe I need new material, Bart. I'm not sure.
No. I pointed out because I think it's such a valuable thing for all of us in higher ed marketing and just higher education in general to understand that connection that we have with that. And I know that a lot of times you work really hard to foster that connection even when students are first arriving. And I really like one of the things that you've kind of implemented is the presidential Uber. And so tell me about that, because I think that's a fun way to get somebody really kind of engaged at the school?
Well, we have a history of trying to do fun things on our campus for years. In fact, to the alma mater thing, we created T-shirts for a few years that said "Love Yo Mama." It was a little more colloquial, a little more informal. So we did those T-shirts for years because this is such an important idea. But there are playbooks about what new presidents do, and you got 90 days and first 100 days and so forth. I don't know what new presidents do, but I know what this president did on his first day on July 1st, 19. Wow. July. I've been planning that long for this. Is what what I've been doing. July 1st, 2025, I called the admissions office, Bart.
Yeah.
I said, tell me some names of students who are on the fence or making their decision. So I called prospective students.
That's
I wrote
awesome.
notes. I sent some emails and texts on the first few days. But the first day of classes was coming in August. I've been on my job for a month. And for 25 years, almost every semester, I'd get in a golf cart, drive around campus and just check on our students, because at the end of the day, you know and I know it's about our students.
Yeah.
And so I would just drive around campus and check on them. Yeah. So I said to our executive team, but also a young new professional staff member, she had just graduated from Lee, I said, I've got an idea. I don't know if this is cool or not, but what if I got in the golf cart, drove around campus organically, didn't plan it, and just picked up students and took them to class, and we call it the presidential Uber.
Yeah.
And I could barely get it out, and she said, let's do it. So we did 4 episodes. We drove around. We take students to class. It's almost like carpool karaoke.
Yeah.
It's almost like there was the game show in New York, Cab, whatever the game show was about. In the cab, you'd ask questions.
Yeah, it's the comedians in cars type of thing.
Yeah, so we would drive around, and so, I mean, it's turned up a little bit. The volume's a little amped, but there's a genuine excitement when I hope that students see someone, they're like, are you the new president? I'm like, that's what they tell me. So I wore a name tag to let them know.
That's great.
And picking up faculty and staff. We did it on homecoming weekend.
That's awesome.
We found my mentor, one of my mentors in this work, who was a vice president for many years. His granddaughter was back on campus, touring the campus during homecoming, and I picked them up and we drove around. So we're showing this. We're trying to increase visibility. We're bringing attention to Christian higher ed.
Yeah.
I did that for 4 years with you. I learned from you, honestly, and so many others about, we just need to bring more eyes to what we're doing. There's a lot of great work being done, and I sit in this chair today to talk about the great work that's being done on our campus at Lee University, because it changed my life.
Yeah.
We continue to change students' lives, and the presidential Uber was a way for us to just let students know we care about them. And season 2 premiere dropped this week, and we've got some good views on that as well.
Love that. And the thing I like about what you're doing, Phil, and that I've always admired you, is just your passion for admissions. Because, I mean, you were in the enrollment seat for many, many years, and coming back, and I mean, you kind of referenced the fact that you used to drive around in the golf cart as the VP for admissions to check in on everything. Mm-hmm. What's that been like to kind of bring that to the presidential level? Because obviously there's a lot of different presidents. Some come up through faculty, some come up through, CFOs, some are coming from outside. Mm-hmm. What's it been like to come in from admissions?
All I know is to be who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be authentic to who I am.
Love
and
that.
So whenever I'm starting this, there are a lot of presidents who are presidential, as it were. Yeah. I don't think it's not presidential for me to get in a golf cart and ride around with students and check on them in their lives. So enrollment, admissions, it's so critical for us now. And we've launched our own podcast on our campus at the advice of my friend Bart Caylor. And so we're debuting our first episode in a few days.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm the first guest on this. And so what I said to them was, I'm back at Lee University. I'm back as the president because of enrollment. Yeah. And if we're not successful, I might be calling you for a job, Bart. I don't know if you'd take me or whatever, but I would say,
of course I will.
I'm very clear into what the role is, because it's not just one or the other. It's not art or science. It's both. It's not systems or sales. It's both. We've got to have the structure in place, but we got to have the relationships. A dear friend of mine who's a Lee alum shared on their podcast last week that people recruit people.
Amen.
So that's what I'm doing now as the president. That's what we're doing all over campus. And we had some success doing it that way for many years. The systems and protocols and structures all have to be in place. Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is working on the passion, of course, on believing in the product that we are, and then telling that story. I'm the chief storyteller, and I'm honored to be to doing that at Lee, and thankful for the chance I had to do it with a relationship like this in recent years.
That's awesome. I'm going to give you an encouragement. This isn't on our script, but you talked about being presidential. Yeah. I remember one of the first times I was engaged at ABHE, I was doing a session with some new presidents, and we were talking about social media. And it's somebody you would know, but I'm not going to mention their name. But they said, I'm a new president. I think I want to get more on social media. My team says I need to be more cool on social media. Yeah. And he said, what do you think? And I said, no, you need to be you. That's right. On social media. You need to be you. That's all God asks us to do. So all God asks you to do is to be Phil Cook. Yeah. And that's what he's called you to do. So
well, sometimes when I see these things, because you see this presidential Uber, and I still have got some Yankee in me, Bart. So I talk too fast sometimes, and some people will tell me that. But the belief, it's energizing to me to be doing, what did somebody say this week? A job is what you're paid for. A calling is what you're made for.
I love that.
This is me. I was built for this. I was made to do this, and I got to do it all around North America. I was honored to do it. Yeah. I didn't know that I'd return to my alma mater, right. But every day I thank the Lord for this opportunity. I'm going to be the best Phil Cook I know to be, and I hope it'll be successful. I hope the Lord will honor what we're doing, because we've had some difficult things happen in just the first semester, but the Lord is honoring what we're doing. We have a wonderful energy and momentum that I've seen around the country at other sister institutions that we're wanting to continue to do at Lee as well.
And I love the fact that I agree God made you for this position, and I think God equipped you over the last 4 years of being able to be in front of everybody else and see what's working and what's not, and I think that honed you. Mm-hmm. And I just want to encourage you on that.
Thank you so much.
I know a lot of our conversation here has been centered around faith, and we've used a lot of faith language. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you see God doing at Lee over the next few years.
There's some conversation out there about this generation, and there's some mixed data that's out there. I found a new follow, and I'm going to mention him. His name is Ryan Burge. Mm-hmm. Ryan spoke at the ISE conference last year. He doesn't know me from Adam, but he's a really good distiller of information. And he's a believer working in the public spaces at public research universities. But there's talk about how that this generation is more hungry than ever, that they're returning to church in more numbers. I don't know that that's accurate. What I understand Ryan to say, those who are going to church are hungry. Yeah. They're eager for authentic, real. I am a Pentecostal, Bart. Church of God, Anderson, Indiana, Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee. But even this morning, we had a speaker talk about in Genesis where God was hovering. Yes. God was moving, then he spoke, and then order came. Yeah. So our students are hungry. They're hungry for the hovering of God, to know it's real. Yeah. And to be real when we have difficulties and challenges and feet of clay, and be very human, but also to honor and acknowledge the source of our strength, that God is the God. My relationship with the Lord drives me to do all of this. Yeah. His Holy Spirit that I believe is a part of us gives me the energy and the motivation to keep doing it. So our students are hungry. They're eager to know God in an authentic way. Parents want to be sure. The recent research that NACAP and the CCCU is doing is that, again, it's still about results. It's still about what's the ROI. Can a student come to a Christian college? Can a student come to Lee University and get to law school, med school, get a job? And the answer is a resounding yes. Across the country in all of our institutions, but it's happening at Lee University. So students are hungry for a real move of God, and they want to be successful for the career God has called them, or the vocation that God has called them to be. That's what's happening at Lee, and that's what we're trying to embrace fully to provide options for our students.
Well, and the thing I really appreciate about Lee University, your leadership, and what I see at other institutions is when you lean into the faith, when you lean into that Christ-centeredness, and we're not apologetic about it. We are hot. We're doing this. God is showing favor on schools that are doing that. There's
again, in my last few years on the road, it's another friends of ours who said, and this is being a frustrated minister, I've got to have the alliteration in place to remember mission clarity. It's the key in all these things. There's some of our institutions across these professional organizations who have the mission, maybe they're drifting a little bit. But what's the North Star? We have to have mission clarity, message consistency. We got to be telling the stories. Mm-hmm. We got to be telling the stories of our students, our alums, how your institution, again, how Lee University changed their life. And then you've got to serve your members or serve your students or customers well. Yeah. When we have mission clarity, those are the schools that are thriving. Yeah. Our mission is clear in Cleveland, Tennessee, and we're focused and we're razor sharp in where we're going. And we invite everybody to come take a look and check us out, because God is moving on our campus. Mm-hmm. God is moving through our leadership, we hope and think, and through our students. So but the mission is the whole ballgame. It's got to be there.
That's awesome. So we've got, a lot of people listen to this podcast. And so everything from presidents to, first-year admissions counselors and marketing folks. What's something you might give them as a word before we leave?
Well, the frustrated minister in me is you got to give an altar call or take an offering, one or the other, right? I got to do that.
Right.
I will tell you what's fresh in my mind from a session I just came from are the difficult times and difficult decisions. So there are crucibles in our lives. There are challenges that we faced. My relationship was strengthened out of a crucible of family crisis when I was growing up. That healing and restoration took place on the campus of my Christian university, and it changed my life. Do the difficult things when they're required. It can be easier to do the easier thing, but it might be the wrong thing. So for me, in my first 6 months, there have been some challenges and challenging decisions. But when you do the right thing and you honor God in what you're doing, whether you're a brand new admissions counselor or a seasoned president's panel that I just heard who say you always continually seek God's guidance and make good decisions and then learn from them. So my advice is to be encouraged in what you're doing. Do the difficult things. Don't shy away from them. Don't flinch. My former favorite NFL team's coach, a guy named Mike Tomlin.
From the Steelers, I bet.
From the Pittsburgh Steelers, where I grew up, he would say, don't blink. Sometimes we'll blink, but in hard times, don't blink, square your shoulders, look people in their eyeballs and tell them the truth and do it in love. And you do it from a pure heart and have a moral clarity. I believe the Lord will honor those decisions. I believe he'll bless our work, whether it's a podcast or a marketing business, to be the country's leading higher ed marketer, Bart Caylor, or what I believe is going to continue to bless Lee University to be a strength and a bright light for Christian higher education all around the world.
That's awesome. Well, you were always an encourager to me, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard encouragement today.
Yes.
If they wanted to reach out and just kind of talk to you more about anything you might have said, how would they do that?
Well, last time you asked me that, I had a different email address, but my email now is pcook, P-C-O-O-K, at leeuniversity.edu. Our website is leeuniversity.edu. Of course, you could Google and find the president's office. It's the professional privilege of my life to be serving in this role. And we're working hard to honor those that have come before us and honor friends who I want them to be proud of what we're doing on our campus. But I welcome any and everybody to get in touch with us there at Lee University because I'm at your service.
Good. Well, I'm proud of you, Phil.
Thank you, Bart.
Thank you for being on this show.
Thanks for having me on.
The Higher Ed Marketer podcast is proud to be a part of the Higher Ed Marketer Podcast Network. Discover even more conversations, resources, and tools to help you grow your institution at thehigheredmarketer.com, your go-to community for all things higher ed marketing and leadership.